What I've been saying is that in the classroom, in education, when the teacher crosses the threshold of the classroom, he or she must leave her politics outside. All kids deserve 150%, especially those kids who get beat up. What the 20% heard was, in their mind, Franklin Thompson is an ally of the gay cause. I never said that. You assumed that, or you wanted to make that part of your belief. So please, LGBT community, please get rid of the silliness. Just because a person is teaching diversity doesn't mean that they're going to agree 100% with what you believe. That's just not the real world, okay? I'd also like to say that most of my students get it, and I'm going to go ahead and close this part here, and open it up and let my colleagues speak. And I received such an email just yesterday from one of my students. And it's a student who started the semester off, and the first thing she said to me, "Are you that one guy who didn't stand up and be counted like you should have?" And that was the first day of class, I got that. Now this is that same student who was not impressed with me, and here we are 8 weeks later, and this is what she wrote yesterday. "No matter what happens tomorrow, no matter what you do, you will be the teacher that still opened my eyes and helped me to grow in ways I never expected, but for which I will always be grateful." So to all of my students, current and former, you have to make up your own mind on these questions. My job is not to tell you how to think. One of the things I want to do before I die is to have lunch with David Duke. I want to do that, okay? And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to put myself to the test. Can I have lunch with a guy that I know who hates me? Can I keep my cool? Can I get up and carry myself in a way to where at least it puts doubt in his mind, where at least this one is different? I have not been hypocritical. I have not done anything opposite of what I've taught. One student in particular, who's at Northwest High School, you know who you are. You said some very, very vile things on Facebook. I have a copy of it, and I'm still debating now whether I'm going to show that to your employers. At this time, I will go ahead and yield the floor, but I do have some other things that I'd like to say a little bit later. Thank you. We're not just doing this just to pass laws and then go home, get a drink, and go to sleep and party. But I believe that I've learned over the last 17 months that a false polemic exists regarding the issue of whether the LGBT community and their choice, condition, whatever you want to call it, is it a choice or are they born that way? Up until now, the debate has been framed in either or discourse, when in reality, in the real world, it's both. From my observation, and this is my observation only, I'm not speaking for my colleagues, for every 10 LGBTQ persons, I believe approximately 4 of them are born that way, and 6 are choosing. Now that's my point of view, okay? I have 2 family members. One was born that way and one chose. And I happen to know that she chose that way because of some abuse in the family. I believe in my heart that it's not either or, it's both. Some of the individuals choose and some are born that way. Just like, for example, people know that I'm into music. And I can't say all of hip hop is bad, because it's not. There are some who do a good job, like will.i.am, and then there's others like Mystical, and he bastardizes it. Now, I'm just keeping it real here, folks. I'm just keeping it real. These are hard questions. I don't know. Perhaps I've been taught wrong, but I've been taught that you hate the sin, not the sinner. And the belief is that you work with a person and you do restorative therapy and you bring them back to their quote-unquote original condition. But once again, there's a couple of things that make me go, Because if I were a GBLT person, and I had two churches, and I had a choice of going to one that says, we don't want you to lose your job, but we do want to pray for you so that you can be restored. That's church number A. Church letter B says, we're going to restore you, and oh, by the way, you lost your job, tough it out, get over it. People will tell you that the only thing on trial today is the votes of 7 people. That's ridiculous. There's a whole lot on trial right here today. And part of it is, how then, if you run a church that believes that you have to hate the sinner, not the sinner, how do you do that? Do you let them lose their job? And then you also love them? Can they hear your love when they can't pay bills? I'm just keeping it real here today, folks, because I ask those kinds of questions. And so, big if in fact it is true that you hate the sin but not the sinner, how do you pull that off? Do you just let them lose their jobs? Will you be persuasive enough that they will accept your prayers? Where do you draw your line, pastors and churches? Where do you draw the line? And is your job to fight this big crusade? Is that what God is telling you to do? Or is he asking you to work with individuals one at a time? We need to stop playing games, okay? But I also know that there are some LGBTQ people who are racist. I met some of them, okay? Omaha is a unique city. And there is no rule in the book that says Omaha has to be like San Francisco. There's no rule that says that. People are always bringing up, what about this city? What about that city? This city, that city. Omaha is the most unique textbook city in America. Only here can you have the sun and the moon in the sky at the same time. Okay? Omaha is unique. And it will never, ever copy San Francisco or other places like that. And if this is not the city you want to live in, you got to find another city. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to consider your request, but you need to be real. It will never, ever be a carbon copy of Atlanta. I'm not interested in what they're doing on the East and West Coast. Perceived sexual identity is bothersome to me. It's sort of like someone saying that you and I can perceive ourselves to be black this week, but next week we'll be white. What if the individual decides that one week I perceive myself to be male, and then a month later I perceive myself to be female?